इतना सफर कुछ होने में और बहुत कुछ होने में इतना सा फर्क है, एक बार सोच के छोड़ देने में और लग के कर दिखाने में। मान लेने में कि जिंदगी ऐसे ही कटेगी और सुबह 4 बजे उठ के सोचने में ये अभी तो बस शुरुआत है। किसी मैगजीन को हाथ में लेने में और उसी मैगजीन के कवर पेज पे होने में इतना सा ही तो फर्क है। वीआईपी सीट में और उसकी पिछली सीट में इतना सा ही तो फर्क है। वो जिसका मैदान ही खुला आसमान है, वही कल जमीन पर तो था। पूछोगे तो बताएगा वो पंछी कि एक दायरे में सिमटने में और पूरी दुनिया को दायरा बनाने में बस इतना सा फर्क है। इतना कितना है? इतना या इतना है जो नापेगा वो जाने कि जहां धरती और आसमान मिलते हैं, नामपुर से दूर, अगर मगर शायद से दूर, वहां भी दोनों में फर्क इतना सा। धरती और सातवें आसमान में फर्क बस इतना सा। ये एक अंतर प्रेरणा है। ये हमारी, आपकी, हम सब की अंतर प्रेरणा है। एक कदम, एक छलांग, एक बाजी, एक गहरी सांस और एक ललकार खुली हवाओं में कि हाँ, मैं बना हूं फिजाओं के लिए, कि हाँ, मैं बना हूं उन ऊंचाइयों के लिए जो ऊंची तो बहुत है और नामुमकिन भी नहीं, क्योंकि मुमकिन और नामुमकिन में बस इतना सा धूप छांव में फर्क, बस इतना सा। तो बस चलिए फ्रेंचाइज इंडिया के साथ ये फर्क मिटा देते हैं। फ्रेंचाइज इंडिया, 20 years of ideas.
Thank you so much, Dheeraj, for such a motivational video.
Thank you,
Dear
Dheeraj.
friends and dear friends and family, welcome to the 20th edition of Business Opportunity Over Chai webinar series, a unique platform where potential investor comes and digitally interact with our brand representative for face-to-face interaction. With this introduction, I welcome our panelist, Chairman Franchise India Group, Gaurav Sir, and our MD, Ms. Sonia Chaudhary, for this particular session. Today, we are presenting you brand Budweiser 0.0 non-alcoholic. And we have privilege where Raj Kalinkar, who is a Director of Operations at Highwood Corporation Distribution Partner with us to talk about more about the brand. So thank you so much. But before that, we would like to play a small video for all of you.
They say I walk like a king, talk like a king. You can X around, now I say the same thing. They chasing the fame, they all want the name. The thing got us running through these veins, make way for the king. Make way for the king. They say I walk like a king.
Thank you so much, Dheeraj. We would like to invite Raj sir to take us through the entire journey of Advisor. Thank you, sir.
Thanks a lot, Dheeraj, and thanks a lot, Archana. And first of all, I would like to thanks Franchise India for giving us an opportunity to represent our brand in this webinar. And we've been associated with Franchise India, um, and they've been giving us a tremendous response in appointment of distributors and stockists. And they have a wonderful, fascinating team across India, and I don't think that there is any other company in India as of now who has got such a big reach. Currently, the day when we've started the interaction with Franchise India about this particular brand, they have actually helped us to appoint many distributors and stockists across India. And the best part is the entire team was so excited the very first day when they saw our product. And it is very obvious that not everyone is aware about this product, that there is something known as Budweiser 0.0. So non-alcoholic beer is a different segment altogether. And we've started our journey around 3 years back when we started another brand of non-alcoholic beer in India. And today we are exclusive non-alcoholic Budweiser partners for AB InBev, and we are the authorized distribution partner for AB InBev, and we are taking help from Franchise India to appoint the distributors and super stockists and state partners um, for this particular brand. And AB InBev is the parent company who owns this particular Budweiser as a brand. And going forward, we are going to introduce more non-alcoholic beers in India. Uh, but let's start with Budweiser. Budweiser being the premium brand, and we've started off with some other brands also. Initially, we've started importing it from European countries, and today, finally, we've launched this Budweiser 0.0. We've started this particular selling this particular brand last year as a test market, and we've got a very good response. And slowly and gradually, we are planning to penetrate in all the parts of India, different parts of India, basically. And we've started with metro cities, and now today we want to penetrate in all the parts, in even the interior parts of India. And so I would like to explain it to you. Many people do not know that there is a product which actually has a market potential. So I'll explain in later slides. I'll explain it to you. You have in front of you. Currently, when we've started around 2-3 years back, the market share was around $13.5 billion, and it is expected to be around $25 billion by 2024. And not only Budweiser, but there are some other companies like there are some other premium companies who are also planning to penetrate this particular segment very soon. And we've launched Heineken 2 years back. That was from United Breweries, and that was from Netherlands. And now last year, Budweiser also got into the market, and there are a couple more companies who are also planning to penetrate the market in India. And the CAGR is going to be 7.5%. So that is going to be a tremendous response for this particular segment. Basically, nobody initially had that particular mindset that this particular product will go in the market, but we are getting a very good response, and people are actually accepting this particular segment. And we've also got we've endorsed some brand ambassadors, like as this Budweiser connects to soccer, that is football in India, and that is the reason we've actually collaborated with Sergio Ramos. He's one of the famous soccer player, and we are also official partners with English Premier League. Television football tournament, and we've sponsored that particular event. So Budweiser 0.0 is the official sponsor for but English Premier League. Can you move to the next slide? So guys, I will just explain it to you. This particular Budweiser that I have in my hand. So we have two variants as of now. One is can, one is bottle. So what we are looking at is we are looking at distributors, super stockists, and state partners. So there are three ways wherein you can associate with us. So either you can become a distributor, wherein in order to become a distributor, you need to have a knowledge of local market. You need to have a small warehouse of around 300 square feet. You need to have an investment capacity of 3 to 4 lakh rupees. You need to have a salesman of you need to have 1 or 2 salesmen, and you will get a margin of around 10%. And we will also offer certain schemes every now and then. And you need to have around 200-300 outlets along with us, so that you can actually penetrate the market deeply. So those 300 outlets can be any hotel, restaurant, retail outlet, grocery stores, bakery stores, confectionaries, like that. And we need to make sure that every um, retailer, whoever we appoint, he should actually sell around 2 to 3 cans or 4 cans per day. So if we average out like every retail outlet selling 3 to 4 cans per day, so monthly he sells around 100 cans, 100 or 150 cans. And if a distributor has around 200 retail outlets, so he can make a good amount, good decent, he can get decent return on investment. And when it comes to super stockist, a super stockist is a person who actually deals with the distributors. So he'll have around uh, 8 to 10 distributors under him, and his investment would be in the range of 20 to 25 to 30 lakh rupees, and he'll get around 6% of margin. He needs to have a warehouse, and he needs to be geographically connected as well, and he needs to continuously conduct meetings with the distributors, and he needs to offer schemes and incentives whatever are passed by the company. And we are also looking out for state partners. State partners are the people, it depends upon the state. We will offer the state partnership, but he will have around 5 to 7 super stockists under him, and he needs to have a sales team. And basically what we are looking at, people who will deeply focus at our product, and we also want people who will involve in our product, and we will who will actually take the business to the next level basically. And there are many people who are showing interest, but we would like to prefer people who are from the FMCG background. So looking at the product, looking at the investment, looking at the returns, we are getting many inquiries, but we would like to shortlist inquiries uh, basically who are from FMCG, some or the other FMCG, who deal with some or the other FMCG products. So this is what we would like to. So it's going to be a very short and simple presentation, and there is no much explanation required for this particular product. And this product is the demand for this particular product is increasing day by day. We've already have many distributors and super stockists appointed across India. Majority of the cities are already being covered, but today we are focusing at limited number of areas like Gujarat, Rajasthan, MP, Bihar, Jharkhand, Orissa, West Bengal, Seven Sisters. These are the areas wherein we are actually looking out for distributors currently and super stockists. And the margin structure, as you can see in front of you, a super stockist will get around 6% of the margin. A distributor gets around 10% of the margin. A retailer is the king in this particular business. So in order to get maximum returns from the business, we need to make sure that the retailer gets good returns. So we are offering around 20% of the margin, which is actually good as compared to the other FMCG products. So normally the FMCG products, the normal margin for good brands is around 10 to 12%. So we are offering 20% of the margin to the retailers. And when it comes to distributor, normal distributors, for good brands, it ranges somewhere in the range of 5 to 7%. And now we are offering them 10%. And super stockists, we are offering 6%, which is highest, I think, in terms of beverages. No other beverage, good branded beverage, offers 6% to the super stockists. They offer in the range of 3 to 4%. So we, as this product is very new and we want to penetrate the market deeply, we are offering such margins. Plus, we are also going to offer certain incentives in order to penetrate the market. And there are two variants, as I discussed. One is going to be the cans, and one is going to be the bottles. So the bottle, the MRP we've kept for the bottle is 90 rupees, and for the cans we've kept 80 rupees. The reason for the difference in prices, the bottles, first of all, the bottles are heavy in terms of logistic viability. Secondly, um, bottles are mostly preferred in restaurants and cafes. So none of the restaurants and cafes, they prefer to keep cans. Normally the general stores, the medical store, medical come general stores, the retail outlets, they prefer to keep cans. But the bottles are preferred by the hotel industry, the horeca segment, that is hotel, restaurants and cafes. So they keep the bottle, and they actually sell it at a very premium price. So there are, I've visited Rajasthan. There are certain stores in Rajasthan, Gujarat, UP and all. they sell the same bottle for 150 to 200 rupees, because the hotel owner needs the margin on a higher side. So we are actually focusing for the bottles for the hotel, restaurants and cafes. So when it comes to margin, I think the margin is very decent as compared to the market, and we are offering a very decent margin structure to the retailers, distributors and super stockists. And this is going to be very exciting for people who would love to be a part of this particular wonderful product. Next slide. So we've also sponsored many events, and continuously Budweiser is something that is engaged with many activities. So Supersonic is something, one event which recently Budweiser sponsored. Like you can see on the top that it was held in Pune, and wherever these such events will happen, so Budweiser is going to sponsor them. So when it comes to marketing, so we are going to be there everywhere. So we are there digitally, we are promoting it. Recently we've started running one campaign, WhatsApp campaign, like that will be soon, you can see on internet also. And we've taken many influencers who will be influencing about our product. So when it comes to marketing, we are doing good campaigns, and without doing marketing only, we are getting a very good response. So we've already getting overwhelming response. So so we are going to do very good heavy campaigns. But everybody knows, like, because of this lockdown, and there was a season of March, April, May. So for any beverage, so I'm also a part of a beverage association. So be it any Coke, be it Pepsi, or be it any industry. So beverage industry has taken a hit, but we need to overcome that particular thing. We need to accept the challenge and we need to move forward. So we are okay with it. We are going to do the business 365 days, and we are ready to accept a new challenge, and we are all set to move in the market. So next slide, please. So like I said, we are the official sponsors for Budweiser 0.0 English Premier League, and our advertisements are continuously run on television and Star Sports and all the premium sports channel, as Budweiser connects to the soccer, the sports basically, and that is soccer is the sports. Next slide, please. So guys, if you have any questions, then please feel free to ask the questions. I'm all set to answer all your queries.
Thank you, Raj. Very short and crisp, but very insightful. I think you have a lot of experience yourself on the whole category. And just for our audience, I'll try to explain the category first. You know, so while this is not new, I think the whole non-alcoholic beer was available a long back. I mean, even in India, I think we had non-alcoholic beer available in the market for many, many years. It had two very strong challenges. One, the product itself never felt like you having a beer. So if people who used to have a beer, if they try something like this, they would never enjoy the flavor, because it was absolutely not close to that. The technology and the whole formulation itself was not ready to deliver that kind of product. It was actually designed for people who are non-beer drinkers, and if they still liked it. And a lot of people had this leftover taste in that, because the whole formulation itself was not right. So it never got acceptability. That second challenge it was that it never sounded a beer, because it was not having a beer brand. So this opportunity really started in Europe when people saw an opportunity that the formulation can, without putting alcohol, can deliver the absolutely same taste of a beer. And the beer companies were resistant, because they always saw this their own challenge, because they don't want to shift people from this and that thing. And when they saw that this is becoming a huge opportunity, every large beer company or beer brand felt that this was a time that they need to be part of this opportunity. And then they started licensing their brand to global manufacturers who would produce a non-alcoholic beer. They call it 0 on 0. That's a category, and that became a huge category. And this category is not really competitive to alcoholic brands. And a lot of people are asking, and they're getting confused on, is it a competition? Would it sell on bars? It would sell on places where liquor stores or things like that? Absolutely no. This you have to, the closest example you would need to take it is like a energy drink. It's like a the closest example of where energy drinks are sold. It's a premium drink, but to be sold at all locations. You can actually sell this at the Kriana stores, to an FMCG stores, to any kind of fast-moving places. Big segment is also Horeca. Horeca is hotels, restaurants, and catering. In-room amenity, which means that when people go in rooms of hotels, they pick up the fridge and their premium drinks are normally there. Normally, you will see a lot of these energy drinks now, a lot of flavored water drinks and things like that. They're all premium. And so there was an article, I don't know if Raj has quickly to share that article, which I think long back shared with him. The nearest comparison actually is cola drinks. So people would shift from not having a regular cola or any other soft beverage, and they would shift to a drink like this because it's refreshing like a beer and it is non-alcoholic. Great opportunity for all markets. The price points also not so expensive. It's still about 80-90 rupees, which is very affordable. And you see a Red Bull or any other brand which is also selling a can which is lower in quantity, maybe more pricing than that. I mean, most of the energy drink companies are selling at much more higher value. I will like Raj, couple of things which our audience would like to know, and I'll put 3 questions for you. Question number 1 is that how does the last 3 years you've been there in the market, what kind of trends you saw, what kind of target groups you saw buying this product? And while the product was lesser available in the market, the whole category was lesser available. It was available on airports when you went out and everything. What kind of trends you saw? If you have any definite market size available for the next 2-3 years, what is the market size? You can also give an example of any other international market where this has become a very big, say China and very or other countries also, or Europe itself. So that's question number 1. Second, they need to really understand how the supply chain is working. Where are you putting this? And third, is there a different taxation structures available? How do you observe some price points and all markets? And in supply chain, you can also talk about that currently which markets you are open to handle because your supply chain has already reached there, because it's a very supply chain based business model. Once you build large retail networks, it's very important to do that. So these are my questions to you, Raj, so you can really take up these questions.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, sir. Actually, you've actually completed the things which I actually missed out. So you are absolutely right. So earlier there was no option for people, whoever wants to drink. So if they want to go for any non-alcoholic drink, so they used to go for a cola drink. But now they have an option of drinking a beer, and there were many people. There was a very big market who wanted to try beer, or who wanted to taste beer, but because of the alcohol content in that particular thing, they never tried. But when this option is available, now it is also available on all the major platforms, and it is getting sold like quickly. So this option is available. Secondly, when it comes to other sugary drinks, so earlier there were many brands, the local brands, local manufacturers who used to call it a beer, but those were not the beer. The actual beer. So I've been to the factory. Last year I was there in Europe, wherein there was one brand. They launched it in Europe and a few other eastern part of Asia also. So this particular entire industry is a very new industry, and it's a growing industry. And there are so many challenges which will come in near future also. So the cola industry is there since decades, and this is just started 2-3 years back. So when we started this particular non-alcoholic segment, so we started with Heineken. So Heineken, the major problem, you're absolutely right, you gauged it correctly. So the supply chain was the major challenge initially. And initially the Indian government also was not able to figure out in which category this particular non-alcoholic drink should come under. So, and then all of a sudden in India, we saw there is something known as GST, which also came in recently only. So GST also, they were confused which segment they should put. So initially they thought of 28%, then GST also, there were several amendments. So currently we stand for 18% GST for this particular product, which is for all the beverages. without caffeinated drinks. So we've fought with many government officials that make sure that it comes to a very lower category. But now finally we managed to get this at 18%. Second, the industry is definitely growing day by day. That is the reason Heineken is United Breweries got into the market, and they're also doing it excellently well. And now AB InBev also. So these are the premium beer brands in India, which are very popular amongst all people when it comes to alcohol also. So everyone knows that this is a very premium product. So there is another product which is which is recently introduced themselves in India, that is Kingfisher Ultra. Again, that is into non-alcoholic. So this segment is daily, slowly and gradually increasing day by day. So no doubt about it that this product is going to stay in the market. Second, when it comes to manufacturing, initially we started manufacturing this in Belgium. So there are, for when it comes to Budweiser 0.0, there are 4 to 5 locations across the globe where we are manufacturing. One is St. Louis, that is based out in US. Another one is Belgium, that is based out in Europe. And there is Korea, there is Indonesia, India. Still, we've put our files to the Indian government, and there is a possibility that we might get an opportunity to manufacture non-alcoholic beer in India. So, guys, I'll just take 2 minutes to explain it to you how the process works. So, this is exactly the same process which a normal beer goes through. So, but there is one additional step that is involved for a non-alcoholic beer. That is, there is a reactor that is added after a normal beer is made. So that reactor, that de-alcoholization process, is the toughest process, which is expensive. And people think that if does not have alcohol, so why is it that expensive? Actually, it goes through the same process, but it requires additional process to remove the alcohol from the beer. So that reactor is very expensive as of now for Indian market. So people are no none of the beer actual beer companies willing to invest that much investment for that reactor. But yes, eventually 6 months down the line or 1 year down the line, definitely everybody will start manufacturing it in India. And when it comes to supply chain, we manufacture it. We are manufacturing it in, like I said, Belgium, Korea, Indonesia, China. So China is something that is the closest to India, and we had a very good relations with China before. But yes, this because of this coronavirus and all, we are planning to figure out solutions for that. So we will be importing it from some other country. But yes, we are also thinking of manufacturing it in India very soon, so that it will be available, freshly available to everyone. And yes, the industry is growing day by day. So as all the brands are planning to enter the market, so the industry is going to stay, and it's increasing day by day.
Sure, thank you. So a couple of other questions, which there are a lot of questions pouring in, and I will request that we have a large audience available on the group. So if you have more questions and specifically about the business and a business model and so on and so forth, you can post it on our Q&A box. But one of the questions which is very important, and how any other FMCG brand works, is that there is a largely general trade. General trade is handled by regular distributors, general trade distributors, and then there is a modern trade. And modern trade, sometimes companies would have direct distributor because they would like supplies directly with them. So when you are making these state partners or super stockists, would you give these two options together, or you will have a separate partner who would handle modern trade? For example, say 24/7 in Delhi runs about 200 stores, and this is a great product to be there because all these convenience stores would need it. But there is a modern trade. Who would service these modern trades? Would be serviced by the same distributor, super stockist, or you would have a separate?
Honestly speaking, it will be advisable for the people. See, there are two challenges only people from FMCG would understand. Like, there is something known as credit. So when you talk about modern trade, it seems like modern trade is very exciting. But when you go to modern trade, they have so many drawbacks when it comes to modern trade. Only people who experienced themselves in supplying into modern trade, only they would show interest towards supplying into modern trade. a person from GT, that is general trade, will never show interest. So there are basically not only two options, there are basically four options. One is going to be the general trade, which is the most popular trade. Second is going to be the modern trade. Third, there is something known as HoReCa, hotel, restaurants, and cafe. So people who serve hotel, restaurants, and cafes, they they always prefer to go for hotel, restaurants, and cafe. And fourth comes the online platform. So online, we've already collaborated with Cloudtail, and we are supplying it to Cloudtail. And there is something known as okay, we are also available in Indigo Airlines, and there are other airline companies whom we are already in talks with, and we are already supplying it to them. And their MRP, their requirement, their packaging is always different as compared to normal packaging. So we have made a different cans for Indigo Airlines and different airlines. So those are known as Budweiser Select. So that is a different category altogether. But yes, to answer your question, modern trade, if a person, if a super stockist or a distributor, he's got a code and he's ready to give credit to all these modern trade, then we have no option, we have no problem giving it to them. But it will who actually are currently supplying to modern trade, because when you go to modern trade, they have a very big parameter like they need to have a code generated, they need to give a credit of 3 months. So the credit thing comes into picture. Then they actually sometimes, this is what our prior experience is like. Modern trade is always giving challenges. They ask for different schemes. They ask, the most challenging part for modern trade is credit. So credit is the difficult part. But yes, general trade is easy. It is very simple. We've created a module which is very simple. For a distributor, he needs to have 200 to 300 retail outlets. He will make the placement in 200 to 300 outlets. He should make sure that the posters, danglers, and all the marketing collaterals are actually placed in the store. And he needs to make sure that every retailer is selling 2 to 3 cans or 4 cans a day. That's it. And his business is done. He'll get a very good, healthy returns on it. So in India also, modern trade is there. But general trade, if we focus, then it has also got a very big potential and we can penetrate deeply.
Sure. So obviously in India, general trade is the largest penetration, and everybody, including Reliance now, is looking at the Kiryana story. And you're right that the margin is 20%. If somebody is able to sell a few cans or a few drinks in a day, you will be able to make money. So this product can go to any market. I mean, it can go to even a pawn shop, which is a product like this, and people who go to them and they would buy a product like this. So there is a huge and humongous demand for it, which is coming from everywhere. So I will for the interest of a lot of people who are asking tons of questions. I don't think we will be able to take up all the. There's already about 120 odd questions which are coming, and so I will try to explain, and Raj, you can also chip in, and we'll try to explain what the profiling is required. If any business, I mean, there is a largest demand for always FMCG distribution. People want to get associated with credible and big brands like Budweiser and a lot of other brands.
Absolutely.
But I will also say with equal opportunity that this is not for everybody. There is always an aspiration to join big brands, but big brands come with a lot of capabilities you need to have. Absolutely. So let's talk about the capabilities of each profile. We are looking for three levels of partnerships. One is a state partner. State partner is somebody who has a capability to set up a super stockist all over state.
Perfect.
And also has a capability from a development of the state and so forth. So that's very strong profile, even to participate in state promotions, in talking about a lot of activations, a lot of events, a lot of ground activations, a lot of sampling. A lot of work has to be done to build the state.
Yes.
It is a very big profile. It can go to any volume you can think through. I mean, there would be not an opportunity when somebody who's really puts in best can build a 50 to 100 crore business also within one state or even more. Looking at the other examples of brands which are similar to that. But it needs a lot of capability of building super stockists under you. Now, super stockist is a kind of a financer. And let's be honest, he's a person who puts in stocks and also puts a lot of stock out for credits and so on and so forth. So there is a lot of liquidity required, and as your volumes keep increasing, you need to put more money to build those stocks and so on and so forth. And then the third is a distributor. Distributor ideally should be from the same background, because the fulfillment in a FMCG is the most biggest task, which means that you go to the same Kriana and give him one crate or a half a crate every day, or every second day, or every third day. So unless and until you have another product which is a similar distribution capability, you will be able to handle this. Otherwise, you'll not be able to. A lot of young people join becoming a distributor to feed a market of getting 30,000 sales points, 40,000 sales points. You'll never be able to do that unless and until you are already, like somebody has written that I am an ITC distributor. So fantastic, because ITC is much larger in terms of distribution capability than even Budweiser would be. So rather, out of 100,000 sales points which you are doing, you might pick up 5,000 premium ones where Budweiser would go. So 95,000 you don't have to even touch because you will not find sales there.
Right.
So anybody who is a large FMCG play can play distribution. So you need to really see where your strength is. Is your state level strength to build super stockists under you? Can you do that? Then you need to share the profile on that. If you are somebody who has a super stockist capability, you have warehousing, you can put money on credit, you can put a lot of stock, then there is entire thing. And then if you are distribution capability very strongly in your district or where your city, then you should profile that. But more closer to your profile, if you are there, you will be successful. And this is equally for the brand owners and also entire thing. Raj, you want to add something which I've said or anything which you would like to differ from a profile?
You are absolutely right. First of all, again, you have a very good team of experts. Basically, they already understand what kind of people we are looking at. So whenever they actually introduce us to any particular client, so now they clearly understand that our basic requirement or the primary requirement would be people from the same industry. So FMCG, a person from an FMCG, it will be very quick for him to grasp things because he already knows the number of outlets. He already knows. So yesterday Archana brought one client, Parthajit also brought one client. So he already said that I have a set of 150 distributors, out of which I am confident that around 70 to 80 people would be interested. Distributors I am talking about. Those distributors are exclusively dealing with some beverages. So he clearly said that yes, and we immediately signed a contract with them because without thinking forward, because he already said that I have 150 distributors, out of which 70 will be doing it. Every distributor has around 200 to 300 outlets. So these are the perfect match for us. So like you said, there would be many people just looking at the brand, oh, Budweiser or whatever, be it whatever, oh, it's a very nice product. Just don't hastily get into this particular project. Think logically. If you have someone who's got some beverage, who's dealing into some juice, who's dealing into some some or the other FMCG, it will be very easy for him to actually do the business and actually make a profitable business out of it. But as compared to the other person, like if someone says that I am from an IT background and I want to do something new, please do not get into this business. This is a different business altogether. It will be easier for them, people from FMCG, it will be easier for them as compared to the other people. So yes, you're right. We need people specifically. It will be preferred that they are from FMCG background.
Sure. So now I'd like to invite Sonia. Sonia, your comments on the industry and questions which you would like to ask Raj.
Thank you, Raj, for putting this together. I believe all the questions have been answered. In fact, all the questions which I'm seeing in the chat box are pertaining to the profile of people. And second is on the locations which many of them come from. And I see a lot of interest which has come from people who are from the relevant industries. And that is what we have kind of emphasized on. We see people from HUL, the people from FMCG background, Britannia, and so on and so forth. So just to put my perspective, I don't know if any question that you want to pick up from the chat box, which I might have missed out, can be done. But I'd like to put certain things, zero alcohol as a category, which I feel has been tipped as the next big thing in the global market. It has picked up much before then it came to India as a category. And especially the last 1 year has seen a spike in the increasing number of people who are choosing to do away with the mainstream lager or the soft drinks as we talked about in favor of, I would say, healthier alternatives, which they see in a zero alcohol or I would say no proof alcohol category like yours. And we've seen cities like New York, LA, and US, a lot of cities there, which also have started these trends of completely non-alcoholic bars, which does not serve alcohol, but they only serve non-alcoholic beverages. So this trend seems to be also taking over India, where we have seen beer bars in Delhi, Bombay, and some more cities like Hyderabad also, where people have, I would say these operators have seen a surge in the number of people who are asking for non-alcoholic beverages. And so to say, the trend is not just coming from the bars, and there's a big, I would say, demand which is coming from the consumer. So it is more consumer driven. And I was seeing some searches which Google also showcased last year. There has been an increment of 80% more searches which is happening on non-alcoholic beverages on the website. So I would say it resonates with health conscious consumers, and also a lot of people who want to abstain from liquor for various reasons. It could be religious, it could be family. And especially in India, there's a lot of young population, or young India, I would say, who's very excited about this trend. And globally, you've traveled, you've seen, you've studied the industry, and you see the consumption trend as far as the globe is concerned. We saw that trend, it originated from Europe, but we saw gradually the trend of consumption started happening from regions like, I would say, Middle East, where all of a sudden there was a surge of non-alcoholic drink. India, you mentioned Gujarat is one of the states that you're very bullish about. So from your own understanding of the market, when I say global and India both, what locations or what regions in India, because I see a lot of regions which I mentioned, if MP is right, Haryana is right, and many other cities and states which people have put across, what according to you are the regions or the states which you see there's a bigger demand one? And second is, from your own bandwidth of supply, I think, which we talked about. So if we discuss these two things, which regions immediately that you think is open for a bigger opportunity, so to say, is my first question to you.
Absolutely. You rightly mentioned that it is, like I said, like it is a growing industry. Earlier, we also, when we started with one brand, that is Heineken, and that we started in Gujarat. Before that, we started selling, and you're right, there are many, so there are certain communities wherein alcohol consumption is absolutely a taboo. So like we say Muslim community, and in Gujarat, it was a dry state. So we started in Gujarat. We've created a franchise module, which you already mentioned, that people are asking for non-alcoholic beer shops, non-alcoholic beverage shops. So we had 600 outlets in Gujarat, but we failed. I would like to accept the fact that we failed because only and only one reason, that is because of supply chain. And a customer, when you enter a beer shop, a non-alcoholic beer shop or whatever beer shop, he needs variety of products. So initially we only supplied, we only kept one product in particular shop. So a drinker, a non-alcoholic drinker, or whoever is a drinker, so he said that he needs more options. So that is the reason we are constantly in touch with different beverage companies. So Budweiser only has introduced Budweiser 0.0. AB InBev has another product, Hoegaarden, which also we've recently introduced. So I think it is not mentioned in the slide, but that has been edited. But Hoegaarden is something that is very premium beer, and that also tastes very nice. And that is also we've introduced Hoegaarden, and we are also planning to come up with Becks, BECKS. Becks is another brand that we've also planning to introduce, and we are also thinking of Corona. Corona is also a very premium beer. So we are planning to introduce many different non-alcoholic beers under the same umbrella. So a person who is actually going to associate with us, so initially not only he'll get Budweiser, but he'll also get Hoegaarden along with us, because it is also available with us. And yes, Bihar is going to be a very good state where we think that it's going to do very well, because in Bihar we are getting a very good response, and your team is also very active in Bihar. And we've also got very good partners out there in Bihar, and who are actually doing a very good business. And there are many other states. So it is not necessary that only a dry state is giving us a very good demand. Yet all the cities, nobody, even Kanpur is doing good. Kanpur is not a dry state. Lucknow is doing good. Agra is doing good. And Rajasthan, few parts of Rajasthan is doing good. So it's not necessary that one particular region is doing good. But yes, we are getting inquiries all across the India, even eastern part of India. we never expected that we'll get that good response in eastern part of India. We are getting very good response in eastern part of India. The only problem we are facing is logistically, it's thoda sa expensive when it comes to supplying it all the way to the eastern, because Tripura, we are getting orders. Tripura is an extreme corner of India. So few challenges we are facing, but yes, there is always a demand for this particular product, and non-alcoholic beer shops are opening. We are going to introduce a similar module in Bihar also. We've already opened 70 to 80 outlets in Bihar, and we are expecting to open 500 outlets of non-alcoholic beer shops in Gujarat also. So in very soon we are also going to. I would like to inform people that there is another concept that we've introduced that is only for people who are from Maharashtra. So we are coming up with alcoholic beer shop chains also. So that we will discuss a couple of months from now or 1 month later. I need to discuss in detail. We are already in talks with government. So we'll also be offering alcoholic beer shop franchisee. That is later only for Maharashtra. But yes, non-alcoholic beer shops also. That is a very good concept, and that also can be offered to people.
So, another, while we talked about the investment that is required across the three formats, which is for a state super stockist, and if I look at the investment, initial investment is comparatively low. So the entry as far as investment is concerned is low. I wanted to understand, in the interest of everybody who's on the webinar, because a super stockist, or even at the basic entry level, an individual would require to build up the capacities over a period of time, which also means that he needs to invest or have that working capital beyond the initial investment. So how much capacity is required, at least if we look at maybe a 1 year horizon? What kind of capacities would one need to build up on that inventory over a period of at least 1 year?
See, I'll give you a live example of one of our distributor from UP. He started with an investment of 15 lakh rupees, and he's made around. He's actually rotated the same money again and again, and now his investment is free. He's made enough profits. He started just 6 months back, and his investments are he's actually paid all his. He's already made such revenue out of it that there's no investment. His actual investment is not involved. So investment over a period. See, like I said, distributor, he needs to have investment of 3 to 4 lakh rupees. But yes, he needs to initially spend money on manpower. So manpower is something that is important. A sales team. Initially, if you have a very good sales team, people ask us sales team. It's very difficult for us to control the sales team across India. But it will always be advisable that a distributor, we've kept the investment very low because he needs to put investment after the sales team. So first 3 months he needs to nurture this particular project, and he needs to make sure that the sales team is perfect initially to do the placement. He needs to visit to the, I'm talking about the distributor. He needs to visit the retail outlets. He needs to make sure that the proper branding is done, proper placement is done, proper sales is done. Once these 3 months of gestation period is over, I think it is going to be a very profitable business. And just in order to sustain 3 months, he needs to sustain in this business, and then he will actually come on track. So investment is really not a very big criteria, because the same amount he is going to reinvest again and again. He is going to invest, he is going to get the product, the cash back. So again, he is going to reinvest. So investment is really not a concern for this particular project. That is the reason I'm not emphasizing more on investment as compared to other businesses or other webinars which I've seen. But here the same investment, he is going to keep on rotating. So a distributor, at least he should have 5 to 10 lakh rupees with him. 3 to 4 lakhs, 5 lakhs worth stock, and rest for the warehouse or for the sales team and all. But after that, the same money will be keep on repeating kind of.
Okay, you did talk about, as far as the demand is concerned, you don't see a problem as far as the demand coming from different regions. The problem has been on the supply side, and especially East, one can understand logistically the kind of geographies it is, it becomes sometimes difficult for not only companies like you, but many other companies in the trade, which makes them difficult to reach out to these kind of locations. But since we have a lot of inquiries coming in, I wanted to understand, would you need in maybe cities like East or regions like East, certain kind of volumes? If you have big volumes, what kind of volume should it be to make it viable for you to supply one? And this question comes to me because I have one inquiry from Delhi NCR, where is we have a gentleman called Anurag, who's currently a HUL distributor. He's already serving 4,500 outlets. So maybe we get a good prospect or a profile of partner who might be from East or any such regions where you currently don't have a supply bandwidth. Would you be keen on looking at these locations if the volume is big?
See, we don't have any issue. We are okay supplying right from Jammu Kashmir to Kanyakumari, and right from Mumbai to the extreme Tripura. No issues. But yes, there has to be some MOQ. That is the reason there has to be one container load. So one truckload. So full truckload is the requirement basically. So that truckload costs around 20 lakh, 25 lakh rupees. So see, again, the investment is really not a very big challenge in our business. Again, we would like to have people from FMCG background. The money keeps on rotating. Investment is not a concern. The same money will slowly and gradually increase and increase. The same amount is going to reinvest in our business. So this is a very wonderful, it is a wonderful opportunity for everyone. They just need to start with at a very small scale. That is the reason we've asked for distributors also. So first of all, let them start with 5 lakh rupees. Let them taste the business, let them get into the business. Slowly and gradually they can increase their geographical boundaries also, and actually they can from distributor eventually they can become super stockists also. So yes, when it comes to supply chain, we don't have any issue supplying anywhere, but yes, there has to be some MOQ, that is around 1,000 boxes, 1,500 boxes or 2,000 boxes. So the investment is maximum 15 to 20 lakhs. It is not going to cross beyond that. But yes, he has to invest in warehouse. He has to invest in the manpower. That is the most important thing.
Okay, I think there are a lot of questions which people are talking about how the brand would support in terms of marketing. Well, there are a lot of national campaigns the brand would do, and which we have seen you've been doing with sports and many other such categories. Is there a local which partner would get at the local level where some investment would be made, or that's completely the responsibility of a partner to reach out and do local marketing?
Sorry,
and just
when
to
it comes
add on what Sone said, these specialty formats or premium drinks always do a lot of point of sales marketing capability, like small fridge, tabletop fridge, and a lot of other things which are equally important, like Red Bull is the greatest example for that. So, and they're normally funded by the brand owners, and they would
absolutely
put a certain value. So are you innovating all this because this excites retailers, this excites a better display at the place, because if it is displayed better, the consumer would ask for it. Because the problem in a lot of premium drinks is that the display is not there, and that's why the throughput never comes.
So we have a very decent marketing budget for that as well. So once the placement is done, we've had many hoardings in Mumbai. We've had many hoardings across different parts of India, like Kolkata. We had in Delhi. We had many places. So once, see, the basic requirement is whoever you talk in terms of FMCG, first the placement needs to be done. Once the placement is done, proper placement is done, we are definitely going to do marketing. Second, when it comes to refrigerators and point of sale material and collaterals, actually those were there in the the other presentation which we had earlier. So we are already giving refrigerators to the very premium outlets, which does certain amount of sale. So we have certain options for them. If you do investment of this, if you buy these many boxes, we will offer you this refrigerator, like that. So we have those certain things in mind. And as I said, this is slowly and gradually going to increase in future only. And we also want to actually penetrate the market. So we will do all sort of marketing, whatever possible from our side. And yes, we also give free sampling, like we provide free certain samples to our distributors and super stockists, so that there are many companies who does sampling activities. So we also want them to conduct certain sampling activities. So we have certain budget for that also. So when we dispatch stock. Along with that, we also dispatch certain samples to our distributors, so that they actually when they approach a retailer, so a retailer needs certain samples. So we also offer certain samples to our distributors and super stockists.
Look, any questions you would want to cover, Raj? We kind of have covered mostly all questions, and some of these questions are very specific to people, and maybe I can ask collectively, because people are looking at opportunities from different states. Would you want to say which states you currently have closed and the opportunity is not there, or would you want to say these are the 5-10 states that you want to currently look at, either of the two? Because we have almost everybody asking for the regions where you're open to do it, and that's a bigger partnership. Smaller can be taken all across. People are, most of the profiles that we have come on this webinar, people are looking at a bigger participation, which is either a super stockist or a state partner. So which locations for these two categories are closed, and perhaps we assume that the rest are open?
No, see, again, like I said, we guys, please send inquiries for distributors and super stockists. And when it comes to state partners, we are very choosy and particular about choosing a particular state partner, because the investment is going to be very high. And see, there are different roles and responsibilities for everyone. So Franchise India and we both are going to help you out for sure. But you also need to make sure that we do not want only investors. We need active participants. We need people who will actively involve in this project. We don't want people who say, I'll give you 50 lakh rupees, you run a business for us. So we are not there for money. We are actually looking out for actual partners. That is the reason we are calling state partners. We are calling distributors who should actually take this business as their own business, and actually they consider that this brand, this is their own baby, and do the business. And yes, distributors and super stockists is something that we are actually focusing at currently. And state partners, yes, we will slowly and gradually, Franchise India will inform you about it, and we will take all the questions, and accordingly we will answer the questions after some time, because I think we are almost covered majority of the things, and there is an excellent team from Franchise India who is there always to help to serve you guys and to answer all the questions. And Archana, I think she's heading it, and she will answer all your queries and all. So guys, there are so many questions. Yes, from Jaipur, yes, it is available. Many questions I can see. Yeah. Oh, when it comes to expiry, somebody has asked me a question. So when the stock comes near expiry, we run certain schemes and offers like the other company does, and we will liquidate that stock. Need license? Yes. So yes, there is a very good question that do we need to have any license? Yeah, there is no specific license required for this particular project. We only need to have FSSAI license, that is Food Safety and Standard Authority of India. That is a normal, if you do any business, any food related product, so you need to have that particular FMCG, FSSAI license. So that license is required. So guys, I can see many questions floating. This is a very logical question. License, yes, licenses, distributor, yes, yes, you can start. Can I start a business with 3 lakhs of stock? Yes. So a person can start with 3 to 4 lakh rupees worth investment. The KYC document is available with the Franchise India team. They will send it to you guys, and you guys can start the business. We will dispatch the stock 3 to 4 lakh rupees as per the distributor's rate, or whoever is your super stockist, we will inform that super stockist that this guy is interested in distributorship in this particular area, and you can actually get the stock from them. So madam, you want to take any questions? Sir, you want to take
one question? I just happened to come across somebody who's keen to go ahead, but he has a question on the stocks, because a lot of consumption that used to happen at bars, pubs and clubs are closed at this point in time. So if somebody is signing up with you today, can he take the stocks later, is one question. And just to add on to that, what is the expiry what is the period of expiry of these stocks?
So normally the stock, normally any FMCG or this beer has a shelf life. Beer does not, actually speaking, it can last for 1 year, 2 years, because I have visited many factories in Europe. So the same brand, there are so many co-packers in Europe, and they are manufacturing it for different brands. So different brands, according to their recipes, they keep the shelf life from 9 months to 2 years. So few brands, they keep the shelf life of 3 years also. So the beer usually does not expire as such, but yes, the taste. So now, as of now, we've kept the taste maintains throughout 9 months, or throughout 12 months, or throughout 18 months. So for our brand, we've kept the shelf life of 18 months, and the stock does not get expired as such. But yes, there is a possibility that the taste may vary after 9 months. So as of now, we've kept the best before. You mentioned best before of 9 months. So 9 months is the best before. But yes, as it is imported from different countries, so it takes 2 months of time for imports, then custom clearance, then all the different aspects, and then usually a person gets 6 to 7 months of shelf life. But we expect them to sell the stock. If he takes the stock of 200 boxes, we expect him to sell it in 1 month only. So there is usually that question should not arise, because 6 months, 7 months is more than enough. There is a juice in India that is known as raw pressery. They have a shelf life of 15 days only, but still they are doing it very good. So 9 months is a decent shelf life that we have. So we should not have any problem for that.
Sure. So I think we were over the time, and it was a great session, and we will probably take a final remarks, because there is a lot of questions coming in. It's already over 160 questions, and lot we about try to answer, but we still cannot cover in a session like this. So it shows a very strong interest. So Sonia, your last remarks. Raj, your last remarks.
Madam, please.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I would say once again for putting this together. We have a very good interest, and I would say this is one of our webinars where we really have got people, relevant profiles of people actually that we were looking at, who've come across from the FMCG, and big interest which has come from all across, not just
Yes.
one pocket, but I see even smaller cities, I see even states, and the people trying to expand across various investment brackets. And this is one product which was stereotyped as a drink which was consumed by males at some point in time, but equally, if you look at the consumption happening today, it is enjoyed both by men and women. And we are seeing a big paradigm shift today which is happening in this sector. So we look forward to a great association in this coming year and the years to come. Wishing you all the best. Thank you.
But again, like I would like to say thanks a lot, Franchise India. And I did not expect that we'll get such an overwhelming response. I don't know, so many people have asked this question. I don't know how many people are actually looking at it, but I'm very happy. And guys, all the best, and be focused. And in case if you are associating with us, just make sure that get into it. In case if you are getting into this business, be determined and focus at our product, and just give 3 months on this particular project, and you will definitely succeed, and we'll together succeed. Thanks a lot, Gaurav sir. Thanks a lot, Franchise India team, and thank you, Sonia madam, and thanks for such a overwhelming response. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Raj. It's always delight to have a discussion with you, and I think you yourself is very passionate about the business and the contribution you're trying to make in this industry. This industry is to go many fold. I feel that this is just starting to happen, and I think the technology would continue to evolve, and we'll have greater products coming in. You are also bringing multiple brands. Selection of a partner would become a very important, both by you. I think you need to select the right partner, and also for a lot of people who applied and written to us. We will obviously at Franchise India try to understand your profile, and also see that if your profile fits into an opportunity like this. And then I will have the team also at Budweiser also evaluate that profile, and if the profile is right, then we will try to set up another call, a joint call, which I think our teams will start over the next week setting up. Because distribution is unlike franchising. You have only one exclusive partner. You cannot give multiple people. So you only get one chance of having a good distributor or a good super stockist or a good state partner. And that would depend on how you perform in that market and so forth. If you get a wrong partner, you never get that market up. And And now with all this happening and changes happening in the market, this can be a huge category. It is a huge category. And it is not fighting with beer companies. It is not fighting with any other alcoholic drinks. It is fighting with Coca-Cola and Pepsi and things of that. So it's anybody who wants to uplift the taste and have a little more experience of having a beer which is non-alcoholic. It is a great idea. So it's a great session. And Archana, over to you for your last remarks.
Thank you so much, Gaurav sir. Thank you so much, Sonia ma'am. Thank you so much, Raj. Thank you so much, our friends and family who have joined us for this particular session. As we can notice, we have so many queries to reply back to you. But still, for your information, I'm just putting all the information in your chat tool where you can reach to us on these numbers, or you can write back to us. We would love to give you answers for all your queries as suggested by Gaurav sir. Our regional team will definitely get back to you. And you can also connect with Sonia ma'am and Gaurav sir at their respective LinkedIn IDs. That's there on your screen.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, and tomorrow we have another great session. It's a work from home.com opportunity where you can interact with Rajiv V. Sharma, who is the MD and co-founder of Tasha Asia. He's be talking about this great opportunity. That's the need of the hour. So look forward to have you tomorrow sharp at 12 o'clock for another great session. With this,
it is a great session because we are launching special opportunity looking at the current times. Work from home is no more a option. It is now a requirement. Everybody has to think about working from home, and we are getting a lot of inquiries from investors coming in that how we can get in a small investment, a very small investment, some kind of a career opportunity. And this is an opportunity which would start from 30,000 rupees, where you can start something sitting at home and still make money. So we at Franchise India are trying to bring a lot of endeavors to help people in the current circumstances so that they can find options for them at all investment levels. And this can be a great opportunity for especially for women entrepreneurs who are qualified, who have done directing, but they, because of all this going on, they need to be at home and look after the family, kids, and so on and so forth, but still need an opportunity. So this is a work from home opportunity and how you can become an educational counselor. So see you tomorrow. If you have interest or you know people who would have interest, please encourage them to join.
Thanks a lot, guys. Thank you.
thank you, Gaurav sir. With this, thank you note. We really wish you to take good care of yourself. Stay safe, stay healthy. Look
Same.
forward to have you tomorrow. Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks a lot, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Raj. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.